Good morning. Thank you all for joining us today. We are excited to host the second edition for our webinar series here for the summit. And as always, we're trying to pick topics that are relevant to you all that are thinking about moving, downsizing, relocating, retirement situations. And so we are excited to bring one of our experts and good friends of the summit to join us today. I'm here with Jim Towner. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Brenda Dixon, and I'm the marketing director here for the summit. But Jim is a real estate expert. 45 years, is that right? 45 years in the field?
But understand, I got my license in upstate New York, where when you get it when you're 10.
10, got it. So that's great. But you're bringing a lot of experience to the table, and obviously a lot of people that are joining in today are very curious about the real estate market and COVID, how that's really affected the market, or maybe it hasn't. So we're kind of excited to hear from you today. We just a reminder to people that are tuning in, you can ask questions through the chat bar or the little Q&A on your dashboard. So feel free to send questions in as you think of them. And I should mention too, before we get started, many of you all know Jen, or maybe tuned in to her program on Tuesday, but Jim and Jen are the dynamic real estate duo, and so he is the better half, or she's the better half, depending on who you're talking to. So, but anyway, so tell us, how is the real estate market?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, by golly. I was thinking that might come up. So, and it is one of the questions that we get asked most frequently. They say, "Hey, what's going on with the market? My God, with COVID and all this stuff, nobody's going any place." And I'll say, well, it might surprise you. The first thing you have to define is what's the market, because so many times we get our information and it's on from television or news or perhaps social media, etc. You have to define what market you're talking about. Okay, so the market in the United States is different from the market here in Virginia, and then it's like politics. It's true, it's local. So in the market that I'm going to be talking about is the Lynchburg Multiple Listing Service. There are 11 counties. It's Amherst, Appomattox, Bedford County, Campbell, the city of Lynchburg, Buckingham, Charlotte, Halifax, Nelson, Pennsylvania, and Prince Edward. That's the big market that we deal with here.
Okay.
But one of the things that I want to point out, and can we go to the stats now? Stats. And show you why it depends on where you are as to how the market's performing. Okay. So we're all seeing a screen now that says, so how is the market? We got there? Okay. So what you see is I've broken this down into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. And then each column has 2 years. And so I'm doing like a same store look back year to year. So what we're looking at are the first approximately 5 months of 2019 and the first 5 months of 2020. So what we're going to tell you is how it is compared to last year when we didn't have to deal with this virus.
Right.
So in 2019, the entire Lynchburg MLS, there were 1,278 sales that occurred between, and these are single-family residential sales that occurred between January 1st and June 15th. In 2020, you see there's 1,574. So it's up. So the first question will go, gosh, it hasn't affected the market much at all. And when you look at it, you can see that we've had more sales. It took an average of 68 days to get them sold in 2019, and only 58 days to get them sold in 2020, which is kind of interesting. And then, but here's the average sales price during that time period in 2019 was $2,009, but this year it was 2010. There's about $1,000 difference. So while there are more sales, it took less time to sell them, the average price went down. You get, oh, that's not good. Well, it depends. It's not like an attorney, but it depends on where you are. So let's take a look at 4 separate submarkets, if you will. Lynchburg City, we can see that 2019, the difference was 478 sales in 2020. So it only had 4 more sales. That wasn't a big jump. 49 days to get them sold and 42 days to get them sold this year. So market time went down, but you can also see that the average sales price went down slightly. So even in Lynchburg City, if you're going to put your home on the market, you want to bring it down even more closely to the neighborhood that you're in. So you get better results on determining what the market is the closer you get to where you live. Location is key. If we look at the entire Bedford County, we see that we've had a big jump from 423 to 478, a lot more sales in that brief period. The average sales time went down and the average sales price went through the roof, a $20,000 increase in the average. You go, wow, that's great. Well, let's take a look and see what made up there. In Bedford, in Bedford County, of course, that does include the lake, but it doesn't include the lake on this, because here's a point for you folks. If anybody who is calling in lives on the lake, you want to make sure that the agency you hire, if you decide to go with an agency, they belong to the Roanoke MLS, because the Roanoke MLS is queued in to lakefront properties. Bedford market, their Lynchburg MLS is not. So you will not see any, because those houses up there are pretty expensive. So that could skew the marketplace, but understand that's not included in here.
Okay.
So in Forest 24551, we see we had 213 sales in 2019 and 191 in 2020, which is kind of a little surprise to a lot of people. The average sales time went down almost 30 days. So that tells us there's a lot of demand out there. And if you talk to agents, they're going to tell you, well, there's not a lot of houses for sale. And a lot of people, it's not as many houses as they like. So the inventory is low. Yeah. So that means it's more of a seller's market. So if you're selling, this is a cue. You might say, well, maybe I need to jump on this. And the average sales price went through the roof. Well, not through the roof, went up $7,000. Now, Bedford, which is a smaller town, 24523, fewer sales typically, but we had almost 20 more sales. That's a big number when you consider you got to like a 25% increase in sales, but the sales time went up. Number of days on market went up. And that can be skewed by a couple of big houses that stay on the market a long time, but you want to know what the deal is. But the average, and again, we see how the average sales price has gone up considerably. So that could, from 187 to 2005, we'll say, that's a pretty big jump in a small town like Bedford. So you'd want to dig in and say, well, how come prices went up like that? And that's why you want to make sure that when you're talking about market value on your home, that what you're doing is comparing homes that are similar to yours. In other words, if you have a ranch or single family, you want to compare it to ranches. If you have a two-story home, you want to compare it to two-story homes. If it's a cape, you want to compare it to capes. And then you make adjustments based upon size, features, etc. So, and that's something we do in determining, okay, these are the prices. So how do we get these prices? What do we do? Well, there are factors, keys to pricing. How to get the best price for your market. And that's on the screen you want to be seeing now. Okay, keys to best price. Could I borrow that little form there for a second?
You sure can.
Thank you so much. All right, this is a little tool that we use when we work with people and we try to put a price on their home. We explain that there are 4 steps. And you can see them right here. There's preparation, getting your home prepared to sell. There's presenting it to the market. And there are lots of different ways to represent it. It's positioning, which is really nothing more than pricing it. And then there's follow-up, professional follow-up. There are 4 Ps. It's really, and we'll talk about each of these and how they're important in terms of getting your home sold. So when we talk about preparation, let's go to the key factors or key value factors now. When we talk about preparing your home for sale, understand this, is that your home is going to be seen literally by hundreds of people, in some cases thousands. And that's a function of basically social media and the internet. 2 big sites you'll hear a lot about, Realtor.com and Zillow. Together they claim they have over 100 million unique visitors a month on their sites. That's a huge number. Now, obviously, with only 5 million sales in a year's time, most of those people are not buyers. But your home is being exposed, and the people who do buy homes probably went to the internet 95% of the time. That's where they go first, which is why preparation is key, because someone's going to see your home and we're not going to have a chance to talk to them. What's going to talk to them is going to be the pictures, how your home looks. And not only the pictures, but what you're taking pictures of. And that's where preparation, again, is so key. Now, we all live in our home one way, but if you're going to sell it, it's like getting ready for a party. You know how frantic you get sometimes. You're having people over, you know, people are coming to my house, got to get it cleaned up. You know, the cleaning lady's coming today, so we got to get it cleaned up. You know, that happens in my house. I expect it happens in other houses as well. Right?
Definitely.
So what are the factors? You know, so we can't do anything about your location. That's that location is, it is what it is. You bought into that, unless you're planning on picking your house up and move. So you have to work inside that. And that has that's a big bearing on what the price is going to be. But to prepare it, now we're talking about condition, okay? And what that means is this, is that some homes have been maintained differently from others. In other words, some of us just live in our house, we're incredibly busy lives. You know, we have a lot of pressures, a lot of work pressures, family pressures, and maybe the home maintenance was let go. Or maybe you're a big collector and you have pictures of every generation all over your house, and you travel and you have memorabilia of every place you've ever been, right? And you can't possibly let these clothes go away because your children may want them for their children. We've all been there. These are the kinds of things that we can help you with. And it's something you really need to listen to, because today's buyers are spoiled rotten. There, I said it.
They're spoiled rotten.
They're spoiled rotten. Because you see Home and Garden TV, Do-It-Yourself Network, you know, shop, all kinds of beachfront people buy homes in the beachfront. They see through houses, they buy them. That's not real, folks. I can tell you that right now. But you look and say, well, the kitchen's not updated, the bathrooms aren't updated. You know, gee, I don't like these colors. The agent who shows the people the homes has to be able to talk to the folks to say, well, you know, you can change the colors. Mm-hmm. You know. You don't like the size of it, we can actually change that too. And we've looked at 20 homes. This is a great location, so maybe we need to make the changes. But the condition of your home, we can help with that. You don't have to spend a lot of money, right? One of the things that we do before we agree to put a home on the market is that we prepare a list of things, must-dos, and then nice to do, okay? Maybe some touch-up paint. Cleanliness is absolutely critical. Your home has to be clean. Even if it's old, it has to be clean. That's very important. Nobody's going to want to buy a house that's not clean, okay? So if we were to make suggestions, that may be part of this. Folks, we got to get this thing shaped up. Because understand, when a consumer goes online and they start looking for property, they're going to put in some parameters. Right. Probably price range, maybe 175 to 225 or 250, whatever. And some key features, 3 bedrooms, we want 2.5 baths, we want a 2-car garage. You put it in the computer and boom, a list pops up, you know, in that particular location. Maybe there's 25, 30 houses and your home's one of them. Great. Now they go through that list and they go, let me see. And what they're basing their decision on, am I going to visit this home? And when I say visit it, it's metaphorical, I mean online. So they click on the picture because they like the home, and then they look at the pictures, and now your home is being shown. And that's you have to understand that. So let's say we had your home over a month's time, your home has shown up 332 times. And it has been shown online 35 times. In other words, people have gone through it, and we've had one person call us for an actual on-site visit. That's a problem. If it's showing up in searches, that means there's buyers out there. If they're not clicking on it, that means whatever they see here, they're not liking. Could be the price. In most cases, that's what it is, because they're looking at these homes and they're saying, well, gee, look at these homes. They're all asking $185,000. Here's one who wants $235,000, and basically it's the same house. Hooey. I'm not going to waste my time. They're going to go to where they think they can get the home at a price that they can afford, and they can see it. And so they look at it and they go, well, maybe there's really something special. And they click on it anyway. They go, no, it's not that special. And you never see them again. So that is why preparation and presentation is so critical. Now, another thing we do to present your house, when your home is presented, you want to know how it's going to look. So what we do, we use a professional photographer, because they are going to make your home look great. And you want to make sure that they have a great home to work with. right? They can only do just so much. So we have to help them out. But they will have we provide a 3D tour. In other words, so people can actually walk through the home to see how it fits. Of a floor plan so they can see how the rooms all come together with room sizes, and they'll have great pictures. So people can look at the picture and really get a look at it. And in fact, I've had sometimes people say, well, these pictures are better than the house. Well, you know, our job is to get you in here.
To get them into the house.
Good pictures. Yeah, we're not misrepresenting. That's what the camera saw, you know. So at any rate, so it's really, but the important thing is that's why preparation is so key, because we're going to present it in such a fashion. It's going to go to Zillow. It'll be shown literally on thousands of sites, folks. It's going to be shown in local multiple listing systems, both Roanoke and Lynchburg, and then these big sites, aggregators, we call them. We'll pick them up, pull them out, and put them on their site. And your home's going to be seen worldwide. It could be a little scary when you think about it. People peeking at your house, but and who's doing it? Could be the neighbor down the street. People just looking for decorating tips. I heard she's a great decorator. Let's see what she does. I'm thinking of selling my house. Let's see what they look like. Right. All kinds of reasons people go on. But boy, you want to make sure if it's a serious buyer, you're there for them. And your home looks like it. One of the other key factors are usable space and where it is. Okay, so that's why it's important that you use similar type properties, because a ranch, only one floor, really can't compare it to a two-story home because it's a different animal, right? Because you got to go upstairs and downstairs, et cetera. So you want to make sure. So square footage on the first floor, square footage on the second floor, or square footage if it's in the low level makes a difference. So if you have a house with 1,000 square feet, but it claims to be a 2,000 square foot home, the reason is because they have the basement finished off. That's not quite as valuable to a buyer as space on the first floor. And appraisers won't give you the same, because we use the same kind of concepts that appraisers use. Because one of the things that we all have to face is while we sell it, we can sell it to a buyer, we also have to sell it to the lender.
Right.
So we can put a price on it and somebody decide to pay it, but if the lender doesn't agree that's a good price, they think, oh, they're paying too much, it won't go through. So we have to make sure that we are aggressive in our positioning the home in order to put a good price on it. So people will want us to say, oh, I'll go take a look at that. It's a little high, but I'll go take a look at it. And they go, oh, wow, it was worth it. And so people will look at your home, but your own price is so high that people won't even look at it. And they have access to so many properties. So we use, features. What are the key features that people look for in a home? Well, things like first floor master bedroom. That makes a difference. Does it have its own bathroom? How big is the bathroom? That makes a difference. Closets. Closets are big features. How big are they? Never enough closets. You have a basement. Is it a walkout? Is it finished? Do you have an attic? Does it have a garage? In terms of, has anything been updated? That would be a condition issue. But you look at features. Does it have a fenced backyard? What's the neighborhood like? So these are the kinds of things that, excuse me, these are the kinds of things that we have to look at when we use a tool called a competitive market analysis. What we're doing is we're finding homes that have sold already that are similar to yours, and that tells us what a buyer is willing to pay for a home that's similar to yours. And we take and compare your home to that home that's already sold. And the idea behind that is that we say, well, if your home is bigger and it's like this other house, then it should sell for more money. On the other hand, the other house had a brand new kitchen and yours is original. We got to make an adjustment there. Mm-hmm. Or your home may have 4 acres, and the other home had half an acre. That goes up. Now, large lots may not be an advantage to many people, but they are large. We have to give credit for them and credence to them. So that's important. So when we talk about real estate, when we talk about how's the market, to review, the key thing is to make sure you're comparing apples to apples, get it down to the smallest common denominator, the best, as close to your house as possible, as recent as possible, preferably 6 months if you can get it, and not more than a mile away. One of the other things that are going to be really important in your decision in terms of marketing your home is most of the time the buyer's going to come in, they're going to come in with an agent. If they come in without an agent, what a buyer is looking for is to not pay any agent fees. And many times the seller is looking to keep the money for themselves. And who blames you? I understand totally. So you have a buyer who thinks that you're not going to have to pay a fee, and you think, oh, good, I'll make the money. Well, you're not in the same plane. They have different objectives. But when a buyer, when a buyer does show up, you want to make sure that someone is there to make your case for them. Of course, they expect you to make a case, but who can they make their case? We always encourage our buyers to allow us to make the case. In other words, share with them the homes that we use to compare. So this is why we think the home is worth this much money. They'll make their own decisions, of course, but we'll be there. You want to have an advocate for you. So another tool we talked about was important to us is professional follow-up. When someone sees your home, we have to know why they're interested, why they're not interested, and why they are interested. So one of the things you want to make sure you never miss is the opportunity to ask that individual who wanted to see your home in the first place, how do you feel about it? Because they're the ones that are going to write the check. And that feedback is key to making a decision on, have we positioned it properly? Is it in the right place? And is there anything we can do that might change their mind? Because sometimes people miss things about a home that the listing agent can help them. Did you understand that this attic is a walk-up attic? Oh, I missed that. Well, it happens. You want to make sure, that people say, well, gee, they wish they had a walk-up. Well, it is a walk-up basement. Didn't you go into that room that shows you that, oh no, I missed that part. So follow-up after the showing is absolutely key. So we talk about preparation. We talk about, positioning our home, professional follow-up. These are key features of any marketing plan, and you need to know how that's going to affect you in getting the most you possibly can for your home. We could talk about lots of things. Do we have any questions from the audience that I might try to answer for you?
One of the things I think for a couple of folks that are listening that might be out of the area, if they're trying to determine a good time frame, do you recommend they just seek out a local agent in their area to kind of get a feel for the market and all of that? Is there a recommendation you might give to someone that's listening that's not, like I said, from the Lynchburg region?
Absolutely. You need to talk to an agent and you ask them to tell you what the market looks like.
Okay.
And they should be able to show you exactly what I just showed you.
The same type of listing information.
Exactly.
Okay.
In the same period, this is what's going on. We're going to be in the price range of 150 to 185. This is how many homes are currently available. This is how many sold, that kind of thing. So absolutely get somebody local and then use this outline to ask them questions. How will you prepare our home? How will you present our home to the marketplace? How will you position our home, which means what do you think it's worth? And then how are you going to follow up after the sale and during the process? Those are key.
So those 4 P's are going to be very important no matter who's where you are so. and what you're doing. So,
we think so. That's our plan, but yeah, we think so.
One of the questions that came in, and this actually happens, where people will tell me, oh, I need to wait till this time, to put my house on the market. Mm-hmm. Is there really a prime season to put your house on the market, or is it kind of, right now proving to be, no time like the present?
You can look at a marketplace and you can see where closings take place. All right. And closings take place usually 45 days after the home has been sold. Okay. But also there's days on market, in terms of, how long does it take to get an offer on the property. I tell we sold a house, when people say, well, the holiday season is not a good time to sell a house. Well, we sold a $400,000 property on Christmas Eve.
Oh, wow.
People showed it Christmas Eve day and wrote an offer that night. And wow. My wife said, no, you can't call the seller. I said, oh, yes, I can. And she said, oh, yeah, you can. And so we sold it Christmas Eve. I am of the mind that what determines when you need to sell it is when you need to sell it.
Right.
What you have to look at it and go, you say, well, I'll wait until the market's better and wait till spring. Okay, good. Put it on in spring when you have more competition. Is that the right thing to do? Well, my house looks better in the spring. I understand that most of them do. But on the other hand, if you have good pictures,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we can overcome that. I mean, and if you need to sell it, then that's when you need to sell it. We can make it look good.
Yeah.
But the idea is that, so my recommendation is the best time is when you need to.
Okay.
You need to.
I think that's a good recommendation. If I would have asked for an answer, that's what it would have been. So.
Give you an answer. I want to give you an answer.
Yeah. So let me see. Here's another one that came in. Is how do you find out what changes might be needed to get a better offer? So is that something you're working with clients and kind of
deals with preparation?
So under the preparation,
right?
Okay.
We would say that what can we do to eliminate the it's not updated. You know,
Mm-hmm.
can we do that? Do you want to undertake that? Or the idea is, or you can just find out when people come through and say, that's where the follow-up comes in too. They said, geez, I just had the vanity. Whoa, is that all it takes is a vanity? Well, let's get you a new vanity.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's critically important for your agent to talk to the buyer's agent, whoever showed it, and find out why they didn't like the house. Now, I'll tell you, that might be hard to get real specifics because sometimes not everybody can get the answers we're looking for. So we do the best we can.
Okay.
Is there any one or two things? Well, it's too big. Okay. Or it's too small. Okay. It's too much money. Oh, well, it's too much money. How much money would they be willing to pay? Oh, you're on for 175. The best they'd pay is 160. Let me talk and see what we can do here.
Right.
Back to you. Everyone say, well, they said, if they say 160, they probably means 165.
Right.
So, to answer those questions is that one, initially listen to your agent about how to prepare your home. You'll make them tell you what we need to do, and make sure you let them know. I won't get mad. Right, because this has to be objective. It's like a doctor telling you things you don't want to hear, but you need to hear them. And then follow-up covers that as well.
One of the questions that just popped up, it says, so who should take the photos of the house and who does the virtual tour?
We hire a professional photographer. Now, people can do it. You can do it with iPhones. The new phones are remarkable, but we don't mess with it. We hire a professional photographer who uses a $4,000 camera to get the 3D videos, and then special software to manipulate it so that the floor plan looks good, and the photo she takes sets the camera up, takes one shot, and it takes 5 exposures. Mm-hmm. And so she's looking for the best exposure. From our position, okay, we feel it's best to hire. I have no illusions. I'm not going to be a professional photographer, and I'm not going to apologize for it. But we can get professional photography done, which we pay for. It's upfront money for us. It makes no bones.
So you, as the listing agent,
as a listing agent,
okay,
that's right. The listing agent, it costs us $300 or $400. If your house doesn't sell, we're out the money. So we're making an investment, right. Not only in time, but also in real cash, to make sure that your home looks the best it possibly can. Okay.
That's interesting. I wonder if that probably is something a lot of people don't know. So I think
it's possible.
So it's important. What I'm gathering, it's important to listen to what you tell people to do. I know, having worked with you all, and you have worked with people coming in, there are many times that they've done everything that you told them to, and their house sells just like that. Yep. And then there's been others that were a little bit more resistant, and therefore their time frame took a little bit longer. So,
and there are always reasons for that. But one thing is, I say it's really important. Everybody be honest with everybody and say, look, it's just, don't take this personally. This is business now, okay, in that kind of situation. Or, particularly where that comes in if somebody makes you an offer and you don't like the offer. I think we got to tell you, calm down. Don't take it personally. We've had 25 people come through the home, and they have an offer us a nickel. And here comes a person that makes you an offer, and you're thinking, well, but with that offer, we can start negotiating. And maybe we can't get to where we need to be, but it's a start.
Okay. Well, very good. Well, I think that this topic is very relevant to everyone that is looking at retirement communities, thinking about downsizing. And so we hope that this program today was educational and helpful to you all. Just a couple of reminders to folks, while the summit is still closed to visitors here in person, we are able to do tours over the phone, over Zoom, just like we're doing today. So there's different opportunities for you to still visit us. Keep up with us online. We're doing a lot of information, testimonials, things like that are going out all the time. And so we encourage you to call us, to email us, let us know what we can do to help you during this time. One of the things I'd like to thank our video guy. So he's behind the camera, but we work with him all the time, and he helps us look good. And you know, you can have an example of the type of services Jim was talking about. Having that professional photography and things like that really makes a big difference. And so, but we appreciate you joining in today. I don't know if I have a follow-up hand-up to send out to people, handout that are here today, but we'll try to get some information as a follow-up we can send out via email, and that, yeah, the information that Jim had. So, but we'll look forward to any feedback that you have, and hope that you can join us next Tuesday for our upcoming program where we talk about wellness and retirement. So we'll look forward to seeing you then. Thanks so much.
Right, thank you.